Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank Podcast. I'm here with the wonderful Alex.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
See, that's all you need every day. You just need someone to tell you you're either wonderful, you're doing good in your life. Like I always told people, like especially my teachers back in the day, if they would have handed out more stickers, I probably would have been more successful. So the fault is on them.
So you're a words of affirmation type of person.
I don't like to give them to myself, but I love getting compliments, if that's what you're saying.
You're not going to go fishing for compliments, but you want to get them organically. Is that
I don't
you
know
like
if
the
you've
pat on
ever
the
seen my calves in leggings, but that's compliment fishing for sure.
back? You're like, I want to get some compliments. I'll just wear some leggings today.
Honestly, if somebody
Someone's bound to notice.
if somebody's giving me compliments or even acknowledging me, I'm just happy they showed up to the game. Well, Alex, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
My name's Alex. I'm 25. I live in Idaho. I have a podcast with my best friend Loretta called Curious Nyxsins. What do you want to know? I don't know what you want to know.
What are you so curious about? Because curiosity killed the cat.
It's true. We're curious about Moida, the paranormal murder. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
Moida, the paranormal, and just like weird things in general. Do you swear on this pod? Do you swear here?
I think I've cussed once or twice already.
Okay, right now in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, just the weird shit in general. That's what we are curious about. Just anything that is unexplainable.
Well, okay. What is your bug? I always get crap recently for saying this word, but bugaboo. Apparently, people don't say it anymore. I thought it was still a thing. What do you find the avenue you like to run into? Like for me, I'm a Bigfoot on the aspect of I really like the concept of Bigfoot. Do I
So,
think that he is like what everyone thinks he is? No, I think he's maybe interdimensional, where you have to
an
take certain.
alien that pops through dimensions. I know what you're saying.
More like taking a drug to be able to see it, like a spirit guide. Like all the Native Americans always like, I took peyote and I saw this shit. It's
I
like, well,
saw,
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I think it maybe opens a door for you to see things that maybe aren't necessarily there. Something maybe, yeah, just opens like a little, your little mind's eye. Is that the right word? But I know what you mean. I think the right word for things like Bigfoot, the Jersey Devil, Loch Ness Monster, chupacabra, things like that. I think it's a crypto or cryptid, like cryptozoology, which is
Yeah. The study of beasts that we haven't really discovered because the fact of there's about, I think, 6.9 million or billion species we still have left to discover. And those are just different variants. That's one thing
yeah.
I thought was actual PhD thing you could get was cryptozoology. So I did so much research and then my teacher was like, no, it's bullshit. I was like,
No, they're like no.
oh.
They're like, those are for the tinfoil hat people. And I'm like, well, I'm a tinfoil hat person. So,
That the symbol, the tinfoil hat?
oh no, that's just me like raising my hand.
Oh,
That's me.
I was about to say if that was the symbol for tinfoil hat, I was watching the show or movie Dodgeball with Vince Vaughn,
Oh my
and
God.
they do the cobra
So
thing. Well, my team hall in school was the Cobras, so I did it, but I did it wrong, and apparently in sign language it means "fuck you."
yeah,
So there was a bunch of deaf
we did
people in my class like, "Yo, you're an asshole." I'm like, I didn't know it was that.
they were like, wait, did you see that? You might as well just walk around like that. Oh, I
Oh,
should
you that's
do that here.
that's the first time anybody's ever flicked me off on camera. I love it.
First for everything.
Well, okay. Well, what do you believe in? What's the concept here? Are you a cryptozoology bugaboo or are you the one that goes into the paranormal side of things? Or you just like the murder?
All of it. I believe in, I don't know. I think, I don't know if I want to say I believe in like cryptids and I believe in a lot of paranormal stuff, but I do like to keep an open mind of that it could be out there. It
Entertain
could
the
be
idea.
there. Yeah, I entertain the idea. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not going to discredit it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say it doesn't exist because I have no idea. In my little corner of the world, I've had some paranormal experiences. I've never seen Bigfoot, but I'm not going to say Bigfoot's not real just because I've never seen him before.
You got to share the paranormal. Now I'm interested.
So, Loretta and I actually did our first episode was like a background on us and some paranormal experiences that we've had. But first episodes are rough and
Yeah,
hard to listen
my
to
first one was talking about poop, and I still reference it to this day.
to this day. Yeah, so it's cringy to listen to, especially for us, because I don't know, we're like, yeah, we'll start a podcast, and then we didn't realize that you edit it and you listen to yourself speaking like on a loop while you're editing, and it's like, oh my God, I sound like that. Like that's me, that's my voice. And then just like how awkward we were in front of a microphone.
You know how you
So
fix that, though? You know how you fix it?
you
You
keep
don't.
doing it. I don't know.
You do like what I do, and I don't edit.
You don't.
I don't want to hear myself talk.
That's why our videos, if we didn't edit, there would be an extra 45 minutes of shit, what part was that? And like flipping pages and stuff like that. And
That's
then
the
we like
fun part. It's natural. It makes it. That's what I chalk up my excuses to. If someone's like,
organic.
there was this thing, I was like, well, it's organic conversation. What else do you want?
What more do you want? But so paranormal experiences, my first one was probably I was babysitting for a girl and she was renting my grandparents' house. Grandma came and got the kid. I stayed behind and I was doing some dishes. So I was alone in the house. And then I just heard like somebody.
There's your first issue. You were doing dishes.
I was doing dishes, and you should never do dishes
Paper plates.
because, yeah, ghosts hate dishes. And so then I just heard like someone running up the hall at me, and I was like, yo. And I dropped everything. I left the house. And then the girl that I was babysitting for messaged me later that day, and she was like, hey, you like left the sink on? Like left some, luckily it didn't like flood her kitchen or anything, but she was like left the sink on, just like
Just
left the
fucking
dishwasher
taking out
open.
her water bill, aren't you?
Yep. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But when the ghost ran up the hallway at me, I just kind of like left. And she's like, there's no ghost here. And I was like, okay.
I have so many questions on the fact of how long can you keep the water running and how much does it cost per gallon that gets wasted? Because
So
my parents told me that every time I flicked the light switch, that it was 25 cents, and which really sucked because at one point in my childhood, I developed like an OCD where
you're like,
I had to flick the light switch 20 times before I could leave the house or someone in my family would die. So my dad's like,
oh,
what the fuck? Like it was like a big
what are
thing.
you doing? Like 20 times, you're like 25, 50, or 75, $1.
He's like,
Counting up.
that's $10 right there, Robbie. I'm like, yeah, but all of our family is safe. He goes, I don't give a shit.
I know isn't it funny, like the things that you start doing? Like when I go up and downstairs, I have to count how many steps I'm taking. And if it's like my friends' houses that I would go to all the time, it would just like come up in conversation somehow. I'd be like, I know that there's 14 stairs in your house. And then there's 3 steps going up up into your front door. And they're just like, dude, that's weird. And I'm like, I don't know. I have to do it.
Are you like Rain Man? Like, oh,
No.
why are you
That's like the
counting?
one.
I would try and see how many times I could get up the steps with the least amount of steps taken.
With
And
the least
this is
taken
where like the paranormal thing first came into my childhood was when they would always talk about there's a ghost in the house because they lived in like an old like style wooden house. So it was like
Yeah.
I would go up the steps and it would always creak. It would always make the settling noises. I just went
Right.
there like a month ago, and this is about 15 years later. And
Mhm.
they go, it's just the house. It's settling. I'm like, yo, it's been settling since I was 4 years old. How long does it take to settle?
When are you done settling?
Eh, I'm not getting it.
Never.
Always going to make
No.
the creaks and moans that make you think there's a ghost in the house. And then you end up searching around your whole house in your underwear looking for a ghost and never
Looking
finding
for
one.
I can't say that I look for ghosts. I just Like if I think there's a ghost, I kind of just like freeze. And if I can, I run out the front door.
Do you ever try and
Leave.
like make sure you're not being deceived by your own mind? Like shadowy figures. Do you ever read that? Which is like when you're laying down in bed or you're laying in like kind of like in a dark room, your mind will start envisioning shadowy figures that'll make you
The,
think they're
pi-
ghosts.
the pile of clothes is all of a sudden somebody like crouching at the end of your bed. That if I scan and I see it, I immediately like go back to it and stare for a second until I'm like, oh wait, that's the pile of clothes that I left at the bottom of the bed or something. You know what I mean? But
That's
I
me
won't
cleaning my room by piling all my dirty clothes on a chair.
just, yep. I have like a giant laundry hamper and I'm like, okay, I'm cleaning the room. And I throw all the clothes in the laundry hamper. Or when I was a kid, it was like a bean bag. Like everyone has like a closed chair
Wait,
that you
hold on.
just,
You had a beanbag as a kid?
I did have a bean bag. It had a shark on it.
That's awesome. How, wait, hold on. Did you, how cool were your parents? Did you have a lava lamp too?
No, my sister had a lava lamp. I had one of
I had the little disco ball thing that would change colors as it
that which
rotated. And then I guess the tooth fairy got drunk in the middle of the night and just beat the shit out of my disco ball. So that was gone out of my life.
I had one of those like those orbs that has like the little lightning bolts on the inside of it. When you touch it, it like the electricity all goes to like one spot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. I tried to save up for one of those at Chuck E. Cheese. It was like 1,000 something tickets and I had like 855 and we had to leave. I was so pissed.
You're like, wait a second, I'm so close. They're like, it's like Chuck E. Cheese is like the stepping stone for like a gambling addiction.
No, what it is, it's like a rundown version of like a Dave and Buster's, or it's a place like where their mascot is literally a rat, and you're gonna go decide to eat there. That's the issue.
I never, I grew up in a very like
Rural?
rural part of the country. I'm from Idaho, and I don't even think there was ever a Chuck E. Cheese inside the state of Idaho. I'd never been inside a Chuck E. Cheese. I hadn't seen one until I was in my 20s, and I like left the state of Idaho. But I'd always see commercials for them on TV and just be like, "Oh, mom, dad, I want a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese," and they're like, "Honey, we don't have. There's no such thing as a Chuck E. Cheese here, girl. You get what you get. We go to the bowling alley where they still smoke cigarettes."
That's that's better having a birthday party at a bowling alley. My bowling alley, like I wish they could still smoke cigarettes in there. Even though I don't really smoke cigarettes, I still like the idea of like it's classy in my opinion. Like it's got to be
In
classic.
well, back, I feel like in the time frame of like the 40s, 50s, pretty much up until like the 80s, everyone, like in the 40s, 50s, everyone was always dressed up, right? Men just like wore suits everywhere. Women just wear dresses, had their hair like perfect, and just like smoking cigarettes all the time. You watch any old timey movies, everyone's just smoking cigarettes. And now I go out and I'm like, I used to smoke cigarettes, I quit, but then I drink alcohol and I'm like, actually, maybe I do smoke like occasionally. But, and then I wake up the next day and I'm like, how could this be classy? Because my mouth tastes like a literal ashtray and I smell like asshole. So everyone looked beautiful, but I just can't imagine the smell of everybody smelled like cigarettes all the time.
Yeah, it's like
Everything smelled like cigarettes all the time.
when I watched The Walking Dead and they had like the sex scenes, I was always like, that's bullshit. You guys smell like rotting death. There's no way in hell. How are you getting
Gross.
turned on to that? Like, if I even smell the faint whiff of like poo, I'm done. Like, it's not happening.
And they just smell like BO and guts.
I can't, yeah, but back in the day with the classy look, it's so weird as a society we've evolved to now the classy look you see is somebody wearing sweatpants in public. And I'm like, oh, you
Like
have no
joggers.
shits given.
No shit's given. I have like a pair of tie-dye Crocs that I wear out and about, and people are like, I love those Crocs. Those are so fashion forward. And I'm like, these Crocs, look, sometimes I just walk into a store and I see a garment that is so ridiculous that I have to have it. And it was like I walked into the shoe store and I saw these tie-dye Crocs and I was like, I have to have those tie-dye Crocs because they're so so over the top. ridiculous, like so stupid, but people love them. And I didn't buy them because I thought
Out
these are
of
stylish.
out of everything you've said so far, that's the only thing I'm questioning is the tie-dye Crocs. I look
Tie-dye
at
Crocs.
people that wear socks and sandals as assholes. I don't think you should be able to do that. Do you want your feet covered? Or do you not want them covered?
Do you want them covered? Do you not want them covered? Well, what's the problem with Crocs? You got something against Crocs?
Yeah, they're uncomfortable for my toes. Like, you ever try and go barefoot
Okay.
on a blanket if your feet are covered up? I can't do it.
Barefoot on a blanket? What?
Like when you're sleeping and you're sleeping
Mhm.
barefoot, no socks on or anything. If I
Okay.
sleep with my feet covered up, my toenails rub against the inner lining of my blanket and it gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's the same thing with Crocs. I don't want my toenails hitting the foam.
Hitting the foam. So, do you sleep with socks on?
I don't sleep with any socks on. I barely sleep with a blanket. Honestly, I'm fine with my mattress on the floor.
Are your feet just hanging out of the bottom of your blanket then?
Yeah.
Don't they get cold?
No, I'm cold all the time. I have low iron levels because I eat too much tuna and I refuse to eat anything else
Wait.
because tuna's $1.
Oh my God.
I'm cheap.
So you have, what about an iron supplement?
I have, I, it does, I don't, that look, what's that? Medication? That's false information.
That's false information. It's true. The government's trying to kill you. Don't take any supplements. The government's trying to kill
It's my idea on the vaccine. Just wait a couple of months. Let the other
you. No,
people go
Florida.
first.
Yeah, let them have the first round of whatever the hell they're trying to put in you. I know. It's so weird. I never thought I'd be this person that's like the government is trying to kill us. And here I am. Everything the government does, I'm like,
I just
I
want
don't
them to
think
be
so.
honest about their shit. Is it that hard? Like, just say you're experimenting on people. Like, I don't even. Last month, last month on
Mhm.
September, everyone was storming Area 51. That just disappeared. That
I
doesn't
forgot
happen
about
anymore.
that. That was it, like it just ended.
Everyone got onto a new trend. What's the next trend? Because it feels like every time I feel like I'm about to discover a trend, like, hey, let's go out into public in our briefs and see what happens there. Nobody buys into it. And then some dude like Matthew McConaughey does an Abercrombie and Fitch fucking ad, and then it's all over the place. Everybody's in their underwear and briefs. I'm like, well, screw it. I guess I'm not Matthew McConaughey.
Well, or people say like, yeah, we're gonna do it. It was like everyone was sharing the Area 51 stuff, and then like nobody showed up. I think
No,
some people showed up, but the government was just like,
100,000 people showed up. The issue was that they didn't get in.
we'll
They
kill
didn't get
you.
anywhere with it.
They didn't do it. Did they
We
all just show up and they were like, we're the people that would storm Area
they
51?
tried to riot and then the government was like, you're all going to get shot. I'm
Yeah.
letting you all, like, do you think the
Really?
government's going to let you in on any of their paranormal? Like, I've been trying to get a UFO person on here for the longest time, but the problem is you bring up UFOs, you bring up anything, you bring up Chuck E. Cheese, people like don't believe you. It immediately goes into conspiracy ideas.
So you're saying that Chuck E. Cheese actually was never real, and that's why I never got to go to a Chuck E. Cheese, is it was a conspiracy.
It's a Mandela effect.
That is that is actually some weird shit.
Yeah.
That is weird shit.
Yeah, you remember shit that is not true. You know, everyone remembers off my favorite, and I'll say it now, Mr. Rogers. There's something wrong with that man. I think there's some bodies in his basement that people need to look into him a little bit more. But everybody, even the movie got it wrong. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful day in this neighborhood. He wasn't talking about all the other neighborhoods. He was talking about his neighborhood
This
specifically.
neighborhood. That's funny because if I was singing the song, I would say it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day
Nobody's
in
that nice
the
to their
neighborhood.
mailman.
So what was it? In Silence of the Lambs, I think one of like the Mandela effect type deals is Hannibal Lecter says, "Hello, Clarice." I think that's one of them, and it's like I can remember like the scene in my head. I can remember the whole thing, and then someone told me about it, and they were like, "No, it's not real," and I was like, "Yes, it is real." I went back and watched it, and it wasn't there.
because your
Yeah.
mind's trying to make things better, and then through time it builds it up into a memory. You ever have a memory where it's like, remember that time we went ice skating, and you're like, we've never been ice skating, and it's like, yeah, we did it, and then you realize, oh no, you just created that memory. It's like a false memory. So what makes things so damn hard to figure out in life, our brain starts manipulating our own self, and the next thing you know, you think you're a turtle with like 5 pieces of gold, and it's not true.
I think I would much rather be a turtle with 5 pieces of gold most days.
That came off really depressing. Don't turn it into a positive. I'd rather be a turtle with 5 pieces of gold.
I would rather be a turtle with 5 pieces of gold most days. Or
Honestly,
another, let's see, go ahead.
what were you saying?
There was another Mandela thing about I Love Lucy. I think it's like, wait, is it Lucy? You've got some splaining to do, or something like that.
That sounded naughty.
You got some splaining to do, like Ricky.
I immediately in my head it goes, that's bad grammar. Somebody needs to read a dictionary and learn how to say their sentences properly.
Well, but it's Ricky. Ricky Ricardo? No. Help me out. It's Ricky.
It's Ricky Ricardo, but then
Ricky Ricardo.
other people change his last name to something else that you can't say anymore.
It's weird, but it's like I could swear to God that is a real thing, and it's not. But so many people remember the same thing. It's weird.
You said you talk about monsters or cryptids and all this. What's the most believable in your mind?
The most believable of all the monsters and the cryptids?
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
That's what I'm saying. It's the one that has the most steam. All the other ones look like shit.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the most steam because there's so many. So in Idaho, there's Idaho State University, and there's actually a professor at Idaho State University that is like the leading foremost expert in Bigfoot. And I don't know if you still can, but you used to be able to at university take a whole class on Bigfoot. And he would take some videos, like videos that people have recorded of Bigfoot, and break them down to like scale to say like, okay, so we know that this rock structure right here is like 8 feet tall. We know it is. And then we take the Bigfoot and we can tell that this animal, Bigfoot, whatever, is like 7 feet tall. And then we can tell that its steps are this big based on like the measurements of other things in the video that they've like broken down, and basically like debunking or proving Bigfoot videos. Because I don't know, like how many like 7 feet tall people do you know?
Shaq.
Okay.
I have his personal cell phone. But I think the idea of cryptos, though, you have to look at the fact of, I think cryptozoology and Bigfoot belief, all these paranormal aliens, I think it's a necessity in human beings to want to believe in a fantasy or an ideal thing that they can't explain, because I think as
Yes.
people we're obsessed with mystery. The
It,
issue is when
yeah,
you uncover what the mystery is, you are upset that you solved it. It's like when you find out, oh, the tooth fairy isn't real. You still want to try and catch Santa Claus or catch the tooth fairy, but then you find out it's not real. Then you're
right.
immediately hurt, because then what's the next mystery? What's the next strange occurrence? That's why I like the idea of Bigfoot is something
Bigfoot.
that's really hard to prove, considering the more time that goes on, the more society progresses with social media and technology, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be really hard to fucking prove it.
Yeah.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility, considering that there are people that dedicate their lives to it. Do I think you should do that?
Right.
No. But also, you should have that idea of a fantasy thing. I like that idea. It's like the same reason why people want Harry Potter to be real or Jurassic Park to be a thing. It's like,
Right.
are we there yet? No. But are we going to get there? Maybe. Give them that hope.
I think it's also part of people just to want to believe in something that's bigger than ourselves, or I don't want to say like magic, but magic, if that makes sense.
What do you
And
mean by
it's like same
magic,
thing
though?
with, well, I don't know if magic is like the right word for it, but is magic the right word? I don't,
mystery.
you said
And
Harry Potter. Now I'm like magic. We want to believe in magic.
it'd be
We just
cool
want
if
to
it was
believe.
real. I don't think
It
it's like
would be cool.
David Blaine stuff, but I would like to be able to cast spells to get like a drink out of my fridge when I'm thirsty.
I would like something to clean my house. You know what I mean? Like, I would love for that to be real. And I think that's something with like Harry Potter, whatever. Yeah, people are kind of obsessed with it because it's like that would be like such an ideal reality for some people, if that makes sense.
It's hard because like the way we're going with a lot of things, I feel like if there was like an alternate dimension that you could slip through and be like, well, this is what happens if dragons were real, or if this was real, or if this was real. It's like you hear all these stories and things from mythology, things from tales from the past, all these things. I'm like, where's the sliver of truth? Because all these originate from something. It's the same reason why every monster you've ever seen in a movie, any film, your brain can't create a new face. It's impossible. What it does is it takes pieces of things that you've seen and clashes them together to create one. So if I have a nightmare of a monster that hasn't been created yet, it's been created because my brain took it from a piece
Right,
of this, a piece of that. The werewolf came from a bear, came from a wolf, came from a mix of a man, came from all these different things and turned into something. So
right.
if there's a sliver of truth in that, how much is a sliver of truth when it comes to King Arthur, Merlin, all these things? Where is the truthness to it? I want to be able to experience what that was and how, as a society, we have story told it into something that it is now, where it's like,
Spun it into this whole,
yeah,
yeah, Knights of the Round Table, things like that, because there's a grain of truth in, yeah, I feel the same way. There's a grain of truth in a lot of things, but what is the grain of truth? How truthful is it? Did people just like blow it up over time? Which I'm sure with a lot of things, that's probably what's happened. But with something like, we keep going back to Bigfoot, but with something like Bigfoot, before people could even like communicate
Bigfoot's
with
a
each other,
priority. What do you mean?
he is a priority. This is just about Bigfoot.
This is the whole,
But, you know,
it's
like
it's Bigfoot's resolution.
thousands of years ago, there's Native Americans in the present day United States that have legends about Bigfoot. And then across the world,
In the Tibetan
in,
mountains,
yeah, Tibetan mountains in Indonesia, there's different stories of a Bigfoot-like creature. So why though?
it's what I'm saying
Why
is
are these stories? Yeah.
it's the idea of taking psychedelics or peyote or something that they were heavily involved with. They had the exact same examples or characteristical features explained out and written down about the same creature, even though they were like millions of miles apart. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense before phone. It's like that means that
Yeah.
they had seen something, whether it was a race of hominid species of ape, or if it was them taking psychedelics and it turns out there's a spiritual thing or a spiritual guide that everyone sees. Like, I saw an antelope, or I saw this. Maybe you saw a type of ape like creature that resembles yourself in a more primal form.
Maybe, yeah. And then I think there's a lot of like werewolf lore from different cultures that wouldn't, you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but seriously, there isn't there?
Yeah, but if you look in any part of lore, though, like even in the Jewish lore, there are things called golems that are supposed to protect, people. They're supposed to protect the whatever it was, the rabbi's sons. It was supposed to protect the rabbis in times of need, or supposed to be these rock golems made of clay or something like that, that they would say a certain chant and be able to control this guardian figure. It's like, what is real? Why can't I own a Pokemon? That's the big question. Why is that not a thing yet?
Why haven't we manufactured Pokemon in labs? Because they would be too dangerous. That's why. I'm sure the government already has like Pikachus and Bulbasaurs
The little
that we
sliver
just
of
don't know
hope
about.
I have left right now for society is the fact that we're able to reclone dinosaurs or recreate old extinct animals, which I'm like, this is
There is
perfect.
a whole movie series about why we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, but that's if you try and ride around in a park like an asshole. You don't do that. You
Really.
just you stay on a higher
You just let
platform.
them breathe.
Have Have them in like the Grand Canyon. Just repopulate that with dinosaurs.
Just in the Grand Canyon.
Just because you're up
Or
so
maybe
high, they can't climb.
we can't. I guess it depends on what ones you clone. How about we just clone the ones that don't eat people and the ones that don't fly?
I don't trust the scientist to tell me that it was a vegetarian. I think if that animal had the option to kill a human, it probably would.
It would probably. It would probably step on you or any number of things. Because even like cows don't eat meat, but cows will kill you.
Yeah, people get killed more by cows than sharks.
It's true, but I mean, how many people are around cows every day
Farmers.
versus how many? Yeah, you know what I mean. Versus how many people are around sharks every day.
I wonder how many people die at the famous Cloverland Dairy Farm milk place.
Cloverland?
Cloverland Dairy is like the best chocolate milk and regular milk you can get in the world.
Wait, are you like, you're on like the other side of the country, aren't you?
I'm East Coast.
Because over here it's Reed's Dairy.
Cloverland, you didn't have that little chocolate or chocolate
No.
milk or whatever when you were in school?
No.
No wonder
It
your
was
childhood's so messed up. That was a godsend.
no Chuck E. Cheese, no Cloverland chocolate milk.
What?
We've got, what else do we have here? I'm sure there's more.
That sucks. It's like not having a Wawa. Do you have a Wawa?
What is a, that's like Helen Keller for water. What is that?
That's a good one. I like that. That's funny. It's like a Royal Farms. You know what Royal Farms is? No?
No?
Do you know what fucking
What's
Cheerios is?
Okay, I know what Cheerios are. Yeah.
It's like that, but it's a gas station, but it's common down here. Like you get that everywhere. So it's a gas station where you can get like subs. You can get it's pretty high class. They do
So
Hoagie Fest.
the gas station is called Wawa.
Wawa, yeah, it's got a picture of I think it's a geese or a goose, which I hate as their symbol.
Yeah, no, we have Reed's Dairy. Here we have Maverick. That's like a big gas station chain. Over here is Maverick.
They sell Slurpees.
Yeah.
That was not an acceptable, yeah.
I wouldn't say they're like the best Slurpees I've ever had though.
What's
You
it?
know
What
what I mean?
7-Eleven? Do you have a 7-Eleven down there?
Not in my area, but in like if you go on like the Outer Banks, there's like 7-Elevens.
Why are we even talking about the
I've been,
paranormal? We should be talking about the fact you don't have anything good where you're at.
that is completely subjective. I resent that statement.
I guess based on where you're from, like people love like, what? You don't eat red meat? I'm like, well, I live in a beach town and all they serve is fish. So it's just not a priority down where I'm from. But if you go to like Tennessee, that's a sin.
That's a, yeah, see, I'm very like landlocked, like beef. Well, and I live in we live in like a farming community. So beef, pork, red meat is like a big deal, but still love seafood. And still like, we're finally getting to the point where we have like sushi restaurants and stuff like popping up here. So starting to experience some more things.
Do you think that's a paranormal thing that you're getting more sushi restaurants?
If it's paranormal thing, it's a thing that I'm okay with. But they're popping up everywhere.
I like to toss ideas into people's heads like conspiracy theories. I just start tossing them out like they're candy at a parade. Because then like there's always one dude that's like, that makes sense. One time I was creating one and I had convinced myself. I was like, shit, I made a really tough argument here. Like I'm starting to believe. Wait a second.
Like, oops, what have I done? I planted the seed. I know. I don't want to say I'm gullible, but I'll be just like poking around the internet and I see something and I'm like, wait a second, is it real? And then I keep like going back to it and looking into it. And I'm like, you have to stop. You have to stop. Just live your life. Enough with the conspiracies. It's fine. You don't need to look into this. You don't need to care about what the government's doing or anything like that. Is Bigfoot an alien? I don't know. But then I just keep reading shit and then I go further and further and further down the rabbit hole. And then
you're locked up in an insane asylum because someone has to pull you back from the rabbit hole that you died down.
They have to pull me back.
Is it that you're diving down a rabbit hole, or is it the fact that there's a lot of shit going on that they don't tell you? And then once you start uncovering one thing, it's like, oh my God, it's like James Woods on Family Guy when he picks up the piece of candy. You're just following a trail.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Yeah, I think, well, they'd like to tell you it's a rabbit hole, but I think you're actually starting to realize things, starting to read things, understand things. Yeah.
So, about the podcast. I
Oh,
think
yeah, about that one.
that's
Okay.
that's we were talking about it until we got off track. But so is it just like you and your friend just shooting the shit and having fun?
It's Loretta and I, and pretty much, yeah, we each will cover a story. We pick a story about really anything that sparks our interest, but most of the things that spark our interest are cryptids, murder, the paranormal, maybe some like tragedies or something that have happened. It's usually pretty dark, but it's still a lot of fun. Have a lot of fun talking about it. So yeah, we each pick a story and then we just kind of just tell each other the story into a microphone and then upload it.
It's a great way to hang out too. I always talk with podcasters that are in giant groups, and I'm like, it's a great way to reconnect, especially like once you become an adult and like issues like
It is.
bills, work, and all this stuff fall into factors. It gets so hard to hang out again. Like it's so hard to just relax.
Yeah, we have to make time for each other, and which was the podcast was initially something that I kind of thought about. I was like, man, I kind of want to start a podcast. And then I was like, but I don't want to do it on my own. Who would I want to start a podcast with? I've been friends with Loretta for years at this point. But yeah, we're adults. We work. She has a kid. We just get so busy. And sometimes it's like, damn, I haven't seen Loretta for like 2 months now. So I was like, I would like to start a podcast with Loretta because that's a person that I wish that I would make more time for, who I wish I would see more. So I approached her about it and she was like, hell yeah. And then we started doing it. And Loretta pretty much just runs the whole thing at this point.
She's gonna
She
love it
does.
when this episode comes out.
I bet she is. I hope so. But yeah, I hope I make Loretta proud. I hope you're proud of me. But
Loretta, I don't know you, but you seem like a wonderful person.
you do. Loretta is the one, like literally, you have been talking to Loretta up until yesterday when I was like, hey, what time are we doing this? And you're like,
You catfished me?
no,
Okay.
because I think somewhere in the messages, she was like, I'm probably gonna like let Alex do it because she's more talkative than I am. And then she was
Everybody
like,
can be talkative. You just gotta poke and pry and then hit some hardcore information. Like, what did you want for Christmas that you didn't get that you hate your parents to this day for?
oh my gosh, I'd have to think about that.
Wasn't a real question, but now I'm really curious.
Who cares? Let me process that. Let me process it. I'll think of it. But
There's a
yeah,
fucking
so
Ben 10 action figure I wanted that I never got.
Ben 10. Let's see. I'm sure there was like a Barbie or something. Or no, the big thing for me when I was getting to that age was Bratz dolls had come out.
Oh Lord.
So Bratz dolls,
Were you a Spice Girl?
a Spice Girl. I wasn't a Spice Girl until I was like in my 20s.
That's a really late time to be a Spice Girl.
I know. I was like, yeah, Spice Girls, and then I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, if you want to be my lover, gotta get
That's like when I discovered the Black Eyed Peas and I kept listening to the song My Humps. I enjoyed it. I didn't care.
burnt the hell out of that song. No, I think I was
Back before
I was
MTV was pregnant chicks, it was actually music
oh
and
my gosh,
stuff.
when it was music, I can vaguely remember because when I was in high school, of course I was watching Teen Mom. It was my jam. And Jersey Shore. I've seen every episode of the Jersey Shore.
Do you like how depressing it became?
Yeah, it kind of took like a little bit of a nosedive. I'm like,
Hey guys, it's 8 p.m. Let's crack a bottle of wine. Then at 9 p.m., let's go to bed. It's like, oh,
let's go to bed.
where
We're
was
like
the
30
dude that
now.
would jump on the counter and scream grenade?
Right, grenade with these people like punching each other. What happened? What happened? But no, I was into Backstreet Boys. That was the Backstreet Boys. NSYNC could go fuck themselves.
Damn.
Oh, and Britney Spears. I love Britney.
Damn. She's not doing so hot today.
Brittany's not doing so hot. We have to save Brittany though.
Her sister was hot.
Jamie Lynn was cute. Jamie Lynn, I think,
She made
has
my
had an
childhood.
easier on Zoe 101. Is that what you're talking
Yeah, she made my college experience think it was going to be like that, and it was not like that at all. I was so disappointed.
You're like, this is what it's going to be like. But I feel like that was actually about high school. I think that was like their high school.
They never went home.
They never went home. No. Have you ever looked up like a child actor who, like, maybe when you were a kid you thought was so like hot, and then you look them up present day and you're like, oh.
What do we mean hot? Like good looking or?
Yeah. I don't know what else you would think.
I don't know, because there weren't like a lot of Disney or whatever was like dudes. I looked up Coconut Head. He got ripped from like Ned's Declassified. I was fucking surprised.
I love Ned's Declassified. I should look up Coconut Head. I looked up that, like, I think his name was Logan from Zoe 101 the other day.
He doesn't look good.
No.
He didn't look good back then.
I remember thinking he was like primo, and then
like the fucking Jerry curl.
I thought he looked cute. I liked the curly hair, and then
a permanent perm.
I know. And then I look him up present day, and I was like, ew, ugh, was not good for you, man. Or how many like child actors from
the years were not kind to you. That's like Ashley Tisdale. Oh my God, I had a crush on Ashley Tisdale, but she still stayed the same. I don't know what's wrong, what's she drinking, but she looks exactly the same. But when
she played on Hillary Duff.
Yeah, but when she played on High School Musical, I did not like her because she just came off too prissy. I was like, I don't like that.
It was the character that she played. But you liked her in The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, I'm sure.
Yeah, working at the Tipton.
Yeah, working at the Tipton.
Esteban, he's a good-looking dude.
I think Esteban got in some trouble recently.
Everybody gets into trouble.
I think
all Disney stars are selling crack or something. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Except for Ashley Tisdale and Hillary Duff.
When they start doing the whole, drawing the Mickey Mouse face with the magic wand, all those people are just doing drugs now. Like Amanda Bynes from the Amanda Show.
Oh my gosh, that is Lindsay Lohan, those are sad stories. You've seen like the little cuts, the edits of them trying to film the people doing the Disney thing.
It's all too depressing.
And how awkward it is.
It's like,
and they're just like all over the place. I'm like, how are you not? I'm doing it right now, and I'm like, I'm making the perfect Mickey Mouse sign in my screen. I swear to God.
It's like being in a commercial thinking it's going to be your big break, and then it's a commercial for like diapers or like AIDS medicine. It's like, I can't travel anywhere without my diaper. And like they give the smile thinking that's going to be your big break. It's not.
And it's not. But then there's people who are like in toilet paper commercials and it's their big break.
It's easy to be in a toilet paper commercial. It's safe. Everybody uses toilet paper. Not everybody uses herpes medication.
I've never seen an advert for herpes medication.
I've seen like 10. The Activia one was nuts. They should bring that one back because of how many people are getting acne from the masks. But like they would talk about like the list of side effects, and one was like bleeding diarrhea, and the next one was like death. And I was like, whoa, like all for just a couple of pimples gone, and you're gonna tell me I'm gonna go blind? That's nuts.
You said Activia, and I'm thinking the yogurt Activia.
Maybe I got the name of the cream wrong.
Proactive? Is that what you're talking about?
Probably shouldn't be rubbing yogurt on my face.
I don't know, though. I think you should try it, and you should let us know how it goes.
That's like when people say toothpaste dries out your zits, and then you got toothpaste on your face. You wake up and your pillow's covered in mint or strawberry.
Then you have toothpaste in your eyeball.
I don't know how did we get here, but we got here.
Oh, how we got right here?
How we got here.
I don't know how we got here.
Is this what happens on the show?
Yeah, this is what happens on our podcast, and we usually cut a whole lot of this out.
You like how I led you in with a segue to plug the show?
Oh, my show
Yeah,
or
your
your
show. I don't care
my
about
show?
my show means nothing.
Oh, sure it does. Of course it does.
It's like a redheaded stepchild. You don't care about it.
Excuse me.
I knew I was only saying that because for people or watching, they would know why.
So what do you want to know about the show?
Is it sponsored by Wendy's because you work there? I'm sorry, that was
How
the
did you
last one.
know? Just kidding.
You had
No,
you had your hair a minute ago that was just like the way you pulled it.
like I grabbed it like pigtails.
Yes.
Yeah, no. We're actually sponsored by the people of Ireland. That's who sponsors us.
Oh damn! I really thought you were about to toss out like a sponsor. I was like, "Yo, you seriously sponsored?"
No, non-spons yet.
I think
Not that cool yet.
you should just do it for fun. That's the whole point about podcasting. Like this thing, it's just for
Yeah,
fun. It loses aspect of things when you have to like work off a structure. Like it's cool to have like
right.
if your co-host does like a little bit of a structure, like we're gonna be talking about this, but then you want to have the rants and fun parts about it. It's like having like a hangout. Like when I go to my buddy's house and we just shoot the shit. Next thing you know, it's like 8 hours passes. You're like, how did that happen? It's like that's the point, having fun, because life is so damn stressful. Let's make it easier by making our fun life fun.
Making it fun and not having to worry. Don't have to worry about like sponsoring people, plugging people, or anything like that. At this point in time, we don't have to worry about that because we're still pretty like small potatoes. You listen to bigger podcasts and it's like they have all these ads for these different things, and that's cool and all, like it's fine, but I don't, and they're just like they just pre-record them and then throw
The
them
worst
in.
is
And
when you get like someone that's like, to listen to this episode, you have to pay this amount of money. I'm like, motherfucker, you should just be
what?
happy you want someone wants to listen to you. Why would you
Right, that
charge?
anyone's listening anyway. And that's what we're grateful for, every listen that we get, because it is fun to see the numbers go up. It is, and it's fun, but
It's
I
nice to
think
watch something grow. It's like starting a business.
yeah, like a business, a plant, like having a baby, watching things grow for some reason is fun. Those little things that you get and you put in the cup of water and they get big, it's fun. We like
Wow,
it.
that's funny. I talked about that in an earlier recording about that whole thing. That was a big trend back in the day, and that just disappeared.
The little shit that you put in the cup and it gets big.
I don't put shit in a cup, but I put the little dinosaur capsules to grow something.
The little sponges. Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking about?
they were so fast. I could probably spend hours on that today. Kids need a cell phone. Hell, I just need one of those capsules.
I just need a capsule. But do you remember the actual little toys? That they weren't the capsules, they were like actual little toys. You dropped in the cup or whatever, and they just got big. You remember that?
I remember like the lizard and stuff that they had.
Yeah, but it was like an actual like plastic type thing, and they would just get big.
No, I don't remember that. I remember the only thing I tried to like grow was a sea monkey, and I put it in the water and it grew into something but died like a day later.
Oh, that's depressing.
It is. It was like, well, does everything I love have to die? And then I got a goldfish from the park.
It died.
It died the day later. And then I got a betta fish. No, it didn't. It actually lived 8 years, which was
8 years.
insane.
That's really good.
I was really hoping it was gonna die. Like
Eventually, you're like, wait a second, this is
I forgot to
not.
feed it so many times to the point where like my mom's like, "Did you feed your betta fish?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Are you going to?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I don't want the fish anymore. It's too much of a responsibility. We have a dog
Oh my
now."
god. Sure. Fish are fine. The worst part about having fish is cleaning the tank.
That's an issue. Yeah, I had one in my room for like the longest time. It's like I wish I would never have to clean this thing, but I put way too many fish in the tank and it made it dirtier and dirtier faster.
Oh my
So then it was like
gosh.
you had to change it out every week, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I have to walk all the way down the stairs, throw this water out, and then fill it back up.
Catch the fish, put them in, put them out, take care of them. No, that's the worst part about having fish is cleaning the fish tank.
And I don't know how like some restaurants keep a tank clean all the time. Like it doesn't make
When they
sense unless it's holding lobsters.
have like giant tanks with 100 fish in them. Yeah, but
This ain't
they probably,
SeaWorld.
yeah, this ain't SeaWorld, but they probably have the highest, oh, what do you call it? Like
Ammonia.
ammonia?
Ammonia is what the fish give off.
Oh, in their pee or something?
Yeah.
Ew.
You do
But
too when
they,
you go to the bathroom.
cats, I think everybody does.
Yeah, but
Right?
cats, that stuff will kill you.
It's true.
Like you can't like they what is it when a woman's pregnant and then like the baby can be hurt by cat
It's
smells.
there's a parasite that can
That shit's
live in
nuts.
the litter box if the cat's been exposed to it.
That
And
shit's
it can,
nuts, yo.
yeah.
So I don't trust cats.
I have a cat and she's kind of rude. I don't know. But
You're just there to them. That's the thing. I like something that wants to like needs me, like that makes me feel like I have a purpose in life. Like I'm not gonna jump off the Bay Bridge now because this animal counts on my survival.
this dog needs me. Oh, but you wanted to starve the fish.
That beta fish did not give a shit if I was there.
You don't know that. Maybe he
pro-
was excited to see you every day.
Look, he didn't care during Christmas when we were all opening up presents. He was turned around in the corner looking at the wall. Didn't make any sense.
Do you know beta fish, like they're from where are they from?
Beta?
No. They live in a place where they have like rice paddies and stuff. They live in like rice paddies.
Yeah.
And they like sleep on leaves. They like lay on them. We had a beta fish at my work and we read about it, and you can actually buy like little leaves that like suction come to the side of the tank, and they like it like an inch below the water, and he'd like wiggle up on this leaf and he'd just lay on it like a hammock.
Just so the issue is that they sell beta fish in a tank by themselves without anything inside of the tank but like a couple of marbles on the floor. Why don't they just make them easier? Maybe that would increase, like, you ever walk into a pet store? It's fucking depressing.
It is. The beta fish are sad.
It's like once they got all the fish on the walls, it's like having your whole wallpaper be like the most depressing thing ever, like the scene from like a war of 1812 or something. It's
Just
like
like a bunch of sad beta fish just sitting there.
hate walking in there. Then they put the spiders and reptiles at the front, so I have to walk through that to get to the fish. And I'm like, ah.
I don't like reptiles. I'm not afraid of spiders, but I don't like reptiles.
I don't mind spiders, but I just wish they'd stay out of my shower when I'm like trying to take one, because they always want to come in there and say, hey, how's it going? I'm like, dude, mutual respect, get out.
Get out. I don't want you watching me when I'm in the shower. And they're like, what's up, dude?
I don't care if they watch me when I pee, but don't watch me when I'm taking a shower. It's my private.
You're just like in the shower and you look up and they're just like up in the corner, like.
Because I sit and contemplate, okay? I sit and I contemplate life.
Like, out of all the places to build your little house, why would you build it in the shower? Just why?
It's like,
because I don't know.
Environmentally unstable.
Yeah. And I'm like, and if I see you in the shower, I'm gonna throw water on you and flush you down the drain.
It's
like
natural reaction.
Happen.
The spider's like, well, the acoustics are right. I'm like, well, fuck, your house is settling still.
They're like, I just want to be in here so I can hear you sing in the shower. Shit.
You got the voice of Mariah Carey, damn it.
I just want to hear you hit the high notes. Like, fuck, the acoustics are right in here. And now you're flushing me down the drain.
Now you got me all nervous and shit. Like I'm performing in front of an audience.
Yeah, that's why the spiders are there. Okay, we can't, no more flushing the spiders down the drain. They're just there for the acoustics. It's right. It's the right vibe.
Alex?
Yes.
Your co-host is going to listen to this. No, your co-host is going to listen to this. And she is going to be like, what the hell are they talking about? Welcome to Out of the Blank.
That is the name of this. So
Did it just
Is it-
click? Did it just click in your head?
I'm not going to admit to that.
I'm about
but
to say,
it
because I've had
might-
people like once I say it like that, they're like, "Oh my god, that's what it means." I'm like, "What'd you think it meant?" They're like, "I thought it was like blank, like a starter pistol." I'm like, I guess. I mean, take it and run with it however you want.
So this is the point, right? The point of this is that we're supposed to be talking about the podcast, but we're now talking about why spiders are in your shower
It's
because the acoustics
conversation,
are right.
and a
It's just
conversation with me is never normal. That's the point.
I can relate to that statement.
Are you going to send me a Christmas card?
Yeah, you want a Christmas card?
I honestly do. I try to give one to my mail lady that comes and drops off my packages because she has to work a lot.
Oh,
But
that's nice.
she recently has been like destroying every package I have. She doesn't know what the word fragile means. So I don't
For
think
Chile.
she's going to get one this year. Not at all.
You're like, well, actually, and she's gonna be like, hey, so what about the Christmas card? And you're like, actually, since you kind of been like ruining my shit, you're not getting a Christmas card. And then she's just gonna completely annihilate.
Getting
every
served, motherfucker. And just toss out the serve papers.
She just like drop kicks the package right to your front door.
Honestly, that's probably what she's doing. I actually took a video of my FedEx guy. He had thrown the package up the steps like it was nothing. And I was like, bro, that was glass.
Did it break?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It would be, I feel like being a delivery driver in this day and age would be a lot different because everyone has like their Ring doorbells or like the little cameras and stuff. It's just so common at this point. They're like, shit, I used to be able to like do whatever the hell I wanted and I never get caught. And now everyone's like, oh, I saw you set down that package in a semi-rough manner. And they're like,
It's
what?
like work. Now they install cameras, and next thing you know, you can't mess around on your phone.
Yeah, Big Brother's watching always. I mean, Big Brother was always watching because the government is always watching everything we do anyway.
Well, Big Brother may be watching, but where can the listeners watch you, Alex?
They can watch us. Well, they can listen to us. You're not watching anything.
Oh.
But you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Anchor, Apple Podcast,
Google Podcast,
Google Podcast, I think like Stitcher. Basically, we are on Anchor. And anywhere
Anchor
that
distributes everywhere.
Anchor distributes our podcast. So you can find us anywhere.
Well, I make sure I link it in the description, Alex, and thank you for giving me your time.
That. Thank you for having me and letting me ramble for, I think, an hour now. Thank you for letting me ramble. It's been a lot of fun.
Ramble on!